So as we just heard, the Nobel Prize award ceremony and banquet are just hours away. Soon, we'll witness Korean author Han Kang receive her award. One person who will see this in person is our culture correspondent Song Yoo-jin, awaiting the big ceremony in Stockholm this Tuesday. Let's hear more from her as we connect live to Stockholm now. Hello, Yoo-jin.
Hi, Yoo-jin.
Good afternoon, Soa. Good afternoon, Bella. Although it's very early morning in Stockholm, it's great to join you guys on the Culture Wave.
Good morning to you, Yoo-jin. So, Yoo-jin, you've been covering Nobel Week right from the start. So what's the atmosphere like in Stockholm right now?
Well, it's been exactly a week since I came to Stockholm. So I came here last Tuesday. It's been a week. And I think that until now, a key word that I could describe the mood here in Stockholm is very festive, because the Nobel Week is not just a big celebration here in Stockholm, Sweden, but it's also a global celebration honoring all the Nobel laureates who made great achievements and innovations this year. And I can say the reason why I'm saying that the mood is festive is because from day to night, there are a lot of events that the Nobel Foundation has prepared for Nobel Week. For example, in the day, there are the Nobel lectures, the dialogues, and you can also visit the Nobel Prize Museum, where you can see the artifacts donated by the previous Nobel laureates and also this year's Nobel laureates as well, including Han Kang, which you just saw in my report. And what you're seeing right now is the outdoor light installation festival Nobel Week's Light. This is a specific piece that I would like to mention because this video mapping projected on the Stockholm City Hall building, you can actually find Korean author Han Kang, this year's Nobel laureate in literature, as you can find her signature as well as her picture in the projection. So I can say that it's a very, very big and festive week here in Stockholm.
I think it's really the best timing for anyone who wants to make a trip to Sweden to go during the Nobel Week.
Right.
Now, Han Kang's first public appearance, meanwhile, during Nobel Week was at the Nobel Prize press conference and lecture. Her press conference in particular drew significant attention as it was her first press conference since winning the prize. So, Yoo-jin, what were some of the key moments or takeaways?
You're right, Soa. So a lot of people were very, very curious and fascinated about Han Kang's Nobel Prize press conference because, as you mentioned, it was her first press conference after being named the Nobel laureate in literature back in October. And she's been keeping a really low profile after she was named the winner. So I think that the 40-minute press conference, which took place on Friday afternoon, it could be summed up to two main parts. The first was, of course, her thoughts on the political turmoil currently experienced by South Korea, because one of her most popular books, the 2014 novel Human Acts, was based on the brutal suppression of the martial law forces to the Gwangju city residents after the enactment of the martial law in the city in 1979. And even the Nobel Prize Foundation, who hosted this event, the very first question that they asked Han Kang was how the week has been for her. In other words, how she found the political crisis or the martial law imposition to be. And the author said that she was very shocked, but at the same time, she was also very impressed by the sincerity and also courage of all the citizens who came together on Tuesday night, December 3rd, who protested against the short-lived martial law. And so let's first take a listen to what she had to say about this.
I saw people trying to stop armored vehicles with their bodies, others holding back soldiers with their hands, and some standing firm against advancing troops with guns. As the soldiers withdrew, some even called out, "Take care," like they were saying goodbye to their sons. I could feel their sincerity and courage. I sincerely hope we don't return to the past where force and suppression silence the press. Literature allows us to delve into the inner lives of others while exploring our own. This process builds the strength to think, judge, and act decisively in difficult moments. Literature isn't something extra, it's essential.
I can imagine how she had mixed feelings while being there for the celebrations in Stockholm and seeing what's happening here in Korea.
For sure, but people definitely have been waiting for Han Kang to speak out at the event. And speaking of the Nobel lecture at the Swedish Academy, what stood out to you? What were some of the highlights you saw of her speech, Yoo-jin?
So the Nobel Prize press conference and the Nobel Prize lecture, they are two different events. So the press conference that we just talked about, it took place on Friday afternoon, and the Nobel lecture, that is each Nobel laureate giving a lecture to the public, so the public can also participate in this event. Han Kang's Nobel lecture took place on Saturday afternoon. So the 30-minute lecture took place at the Swedish Academy, and it was titled Light and Thread. The footage that you're seeing right now is Han giving her lecture. And she kind of walked us through her journey, her 30-year journey of a writer, of finding the overarching theme of her works, which was really interesting because some say that they found Han Kang's works to be quite violent, but I think that this would have kind of opened up their eyes and changed their thoughts because she said that she found that the main common theme between her works and her novels was actually love. And she also talked about how love is in the act of writing itself because she introduced a poem that she wrote at 80 years old, which she found while she was preparing to move. It described love as the beating of the heart and also the thread that connects together. And this is exactly what Han is doing with her works. Through her writing and through her books, she is connecting with her readers and the audience. So take a listen to what she had to say at the Nobel Prize lecture.
우리는 인간성을 믿고자 하기에 그 믿음이 흔들릴 때 자신이 파괴되는 것을 느끼는 것일까? 우리는 인간을 사랑하고자 하기에 그 사랑이 부서질 때 고통을 느끼는 것일까? 사랑에서 고통이 생겨나고 어떤 고통은 사랑의 증거인 것일까? 소설을 쓸 때 나는 신체를 사용합니다. 심장이 뛰고 갈증과 허기를 느끼고 걷고 달리고 바람과 눈비를 맞고 손을 맞잡는 모든 감각의 세부들을 사용합니다. 그 생생한 감각들을 전류처럼 문장들에 불어넣으려 하고 그 전류가 읽는 사람들에게 전달되는 것을 느낄 때면 놀라고 감동합니다. 언어가 우리를 잇는 실이라는 것을
The lecture, it sounded kind of like a poem listening to her speech, but Han Kang's press conference and lecture seemed to have sparked quite a buzz, especially given the ongoing political turmoil here in Korea. So, Yoo-jin, how have her comments during these events been received in Sweden?
Right. So her press conference definitely made headlines not only in Sweden but internationally because once again she shared her thoughts and opinions about the political turmoil that Korea is currently facing. And I also want to mention the lecture a bit more because a lecture could be attended by the general public. And even before the lecture actually started, tickets for the lecture were sold weeks before it started. And unfortunately, I was one of the ones who couldn't find a ticket for the lecture, so I had to watch a live stream on the Nobel Prize's official website, which really shows how much interested and huge attention Han Kang is receiving internationally. And some who attended her lecture, the audience gave or shared their thoughts on what they thought about it, calling it poetic, which Soa you mentioned, and also emotional, just like her work and her novels. And all the attendees, they generally said that they were able to foster a much more deeper understanding of Han Kang's works. And also Korean residents here in Sweden, they said that they were very touched and it was very meaningful for them, in fact, that the lecture was conducted and given in Korean. And what also shows how much the public or the attendees were interested in Han's lecture was that after the event, Han reportedly stayed 30 minutes more than her original schedule as the attendees asked her to sign or autograph the books that they brought. And even outside the Swedish Academy, outside the building, many people were lining up just to catch a glimpse of the author when she came out to the building after ending the event. So we can say that Han Kang is definitely creating a big buzz here in Stockholm.
Yoo-jin, did you get the chance to sign some books for us? Get some books signed?
Signed for us?
Well, I'll try because I'll be staying here for a few weeks, a few more days, but I can't really say that it will be easy, but I'll try my best.
No pressure.
No pressure. But it's definitely great to see, Han Kang receiving tremendous love globally. And now turning back to today, what can we expect from the schedule ahead? You briefly mentioned in your package, but please walk us through the key events planned for the day once again.
Sure. So today is Nobel Day. It is the anniversary of the prize's founder Alfred Nobel's death, and this day is called the highlight of every Nobel week because it is the day when the laureates are actually presented the awards and the Nobel Prize banquet takes place as well. So as mentioned in my report, the day will start with the Nobel Prize award ceremony that will start at 4 p.m. at the Stockholm concert hall that you're seeing right now, and Han Kang will get her award in fourth in the order. And then when she is introduced to the prize, there'll be a short presentation speech, about 5 minutes. And after that, she will be given a diploma and a medal from the Swedish king. And then we have to talk about the Nobel Prize banquet as well. Food always seems to spark a big interest, especially when there's a grand banquet like this. So in terms of the banquet, it will start at 7 p.m. local time at the Stockholm City Hall. As mentioned in my report, once again, all the menu that will be served on the day will be tightly kept secret, so we'll get to know it once the banquet starts. But I think that the biggest highlight of Nobel Day, the highlight of the highlight, lies in the Nobel banquet, because at the end of the banquet, each laureate per category will be giving a speech of thanks. So we'll have a chance to listen to Han Kang herself once again.
Looking forward to all of the events happening. Now, Han Kang, meanwhile, is not only the first Korean to win the Nobel Prize in Literature, but also the first female laureate from Asia. So, final question to you, Yoo-jin. You're covering all of this on site. How do you feel and how excited are you to witness this significant event?
Oh, that is a really, really hard question to answer because I really can't think of a proper word or expression that kind of shows or describes how much grateful I am for this opportunity, especially as a culture correspondent, because covering a Korean winning a Nobel Prize is not very common. The last Nobel Prize winner in Korea was the late then President Kim Dae-jung 24 years ago. And the fact that we are seeing a Korean winning a Nobel Prize in Literature, which we've waited for a long time, and being able to cover this event on spot, I think that it's a great honor and privilege for me. So I think that my job now is to cover all the events on site as best as I can so that I can convey all the emotions and the experience that I'm feeling to the viewers who are watching our newscasts and our programs. And I also want to say, last but not least, stay tuned for Arirang News special live coverage of the Nobel Prize award ceremony that will take place tonight.
All right, we appreciate it, Yoo-jin. Thank you so much for connecting with us. And as this is a historic moment for Korea and Korean literature, we hope you'll get to indulge in the festivities while covering the rest of the event. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.